You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I come from a show business family. I come from a show business background. A lot of my earliest memories are of the stage. My parents were performers. My grandparents were performers in vaudeville days. And so when I was a kid, you know, what you remember, what you take away is like the smells and the sights, the sound of the audience, the smell of makeup. A lot of the different novelty acts would have their own smell. Like for instance, there was this clown I remember as a kid, Bobo the Clown. And I remember Bobo, the smells that would be associated with his act were always whiskey and cigars, because I'd be backstage, I'd be close enough to the performers to remember like these little details about it. And I remember Bobo. I'll never forget Bobo, because every Sunday evening and Monday afternoon he would invite me to his trailer where he would make balloon animals, and then he would rape the shit out of my ass. Now, to this day, I cannot get or maintain an erection around balloon animals. And that's a pretty bad memory, I know. That's pretty bad, but most of my memories of the theater are pretty fond. And my parents, I said, were performers, and we had a family act. And in the family act, it would be my father, it would be my mother, it would be my 15-year-old sister, and it would be me. And we were an opening act for a bigger act, and we would have to do what was called a tight 15. We would do a tight 15 before the main act came on. No pun intended, that's not about my sister, she was 15. But we would do a tight 15-minute act. And the other thing that was involved in the act was a very unique donkey named Del Monte. Now, back then, PETA wasn't around. There was no PETA, so you could modify an animal to fit your act. You could do whatever you wanted to do to modify the animal. Now, what made Del Monte unique was that Del Monte, we had the teeth removed from this donkey, so it was a donkey without teeth. Now, because the donkey didn't have teeth, the only thing that the donkey could eat was Del Monte creamed corn. And so that's why we named the donkey Del Monte. Now when we did this act, my dad would start the act. He was the big showman. He was the big showman in the family. Dad would lead the donkey out on the stage. Now, Dad would be wearing a top hat. He would have a white-tipped cane. And he would be wearing a sparkly red bow tie. And he would be wearing nothing else. Huge fucking erection. Now, the thing you need to know about my dad is that he had the most enormous cock I have ever seen. Porn's got nothing. One day in the Catskills, they measured my dad's cock. It was 15 and a half inches. 15 and a half inch cock. So he'd go out on the stage, leading this donkey, flapping his big, hard cock around. Now, meanwhile, Sis was riding on the back of the donkey. Sis was totally naked, except for a couple of pasties that she was able to get spinning in opposite directions. Right? So, Mom was known for the strength in her upper arms and legs. She was so strong in her upper arms and legs that she could hold herself underneath the donkey on the underside of Del Monte, and she would come out riding underneath the donkey, blowing the donkey as she came out. Now my part, I was only 12 at the time, so I would come out also completely naked, except for I would wear a pair of Capezio tap shoes and I would wear white gloves. And I would tap dance out behind the donkey doing happy jazz hands. It was very theatrical. So, at this point, this is where it gets good. The only thing that this donkey liked better than Del Monte cream... Oh, I gotta tell you. There was one other cool part about the donkey. And this... I used to like it as a kid because kids like sick humor and everything. But this donkey had quirk. If you tickled him behind his left ear in just the right way, he would regurgitate. And I always thought that was funny as a kid. But at this point in the act, Dad would take out, the only thing that this donkey liked better than Del Monte cream corn was maple syrup. And the only time he got maple syrup was during the act. So Dad would take out a bottle of maple syrup and he would pour maple syrup all over his 15.5-inch cock until it was just covered in maple syrup. And he'd stick his dick into the toothless donkey's mouth. Oh, the other thing about the donkey. Oh, the donkey was totally unique. There's never been a donkey like this in the world. The donkey was a she-male. You know what? I don't want to say that. I want to say the donkey was a she-male because, you know, that's probably not the right time. I don't know if it's hermaphrodite. I want to be careful what I say because the last thing I want to do with this story is offend anyone. I think that the politically correct term is transgendered. So this was a transgender donkey, and if you lifted up its tail, what you would see in order of appearance was an asshole, a cunt, a big sack of balls, and a giant donkey dick. So Dad would cover his cock in maple syrup. He'd shove his cock in, and Del Monte loved maple syrup so much, he'd just go to work on Dad. Dad would be throat fucking the shit out of this donkey, right? And so Sis is on the back. She's twirling her pasties. The tits are going around. Mom's sucking the donkey's cock. I would start with a little bit of tickling on the donkey ass, but eventually I would just be hardcore fisting the fuck out of this donkey and this cunt. So I'd be fist fucking the shit out of the donkey and this cunt. And it's at this point in the act that Mom and Sis would do what we called the old switcheroo. Sis would lay back on the donkey. She would reach down, grab my mom's hand. They'd both spin at the same moment, and they would switch places so that Mom would end up on the back of the donkey. Sis would end up underneath the donkey. Now, the audience would go nuts at this point, because what would happen is Mom would lay back on the donkey and she'd just start fingering the shit out of her clit and her cunt, and she'd just start masturbating. Now, in vaudeville circles, my mom was known as Squirty Gertie. And the reason she was known as Squirty Gertie, she had a unique talent for squirting her cum juices further in a hierarchy than any woman I've ever seen. And it was very rhythmic. The music would be going on. Dun 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 dun, squirt. Dun 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 dun, squirt. And you get this rhythm. And what I would do is while I was fist fucking the shit out of the donkey, on the mark, I would stick my face up, open my mouth, and I would swallow her cum juice. Now, I know that sounds disgusting to a lot of people, but it's not really disgusting when you realize that that's the same dirty cunt that birthed me, and I probably swallowed about a half a gallon of her cunt juice coming out. So it's not anything that I haven't done before. Now, I forgot about my sis, and I got to describe what my sis is doing, because it's a big part of the act. The thing you got to know about sis is that she was an old-fashioned girl. She was an old-fashioned girl. She was very, girls back then, they're not like the sluts of today that'll shove anything up their cunts just for shits and giggles. Sis was saving herself for marriage. Sis was saving, that's a noble thing, saving yourself for marriage, right? So Sis, what she would do in order to save herself for marriage is that underneath the donkey, she'd get down on all fours, and we're talking elbows and knees. She'd stick her face to the ground. She'd arch her back as far as she could go. And then she would stick her ass up at such an angle that when the donkey thrust, it penetrated her asshole right up to the fucking colon. Man, would her eyes bug out, and the crowd would love it. So Dad is throat fucking the donkey, Mom is masturbating and squirting on the back, I'm swallowing it, I'm fist fucking the shit out of the donkey, and the donkey is fucking the shit out of my sister. So at this point, the donkey would start to, you could feel the donkey was about to come, and I knew when the donkey was about to come. And the problem with this is that I knew that when the donkey came, it had a tendency to just shit all over the place. It would just fucking diarrhea shit all over the place. And it's about 10% unprocessed cream corn, okay? But I knew it was coming, so I would prepare. So I would wait for that moment, and I would close my mouth and I would close my eyes. And that worked pretty well. Although I still missed a lot of school on account of pink eye. But when the donkey came, It also came in my sister. And I don't know if you've ever seen a donkey come, but there's a lot of jizz when a donkey comes. And it was more than my 15-year-old sister could take. It would not only fill up her assholes, but it would squirt out the sides of her cunt, and warm cum would be dripping down the back of her legs. Now that was, and she would give out this moan of pleasure and pain that's hard to describe. It was a cue for my mom. My mom at this point would slide off the back of the donkey, and she would crawl up on all fours, and she would start teabagging my dad to help him finish for the end of the act. So she'd be teabagging my dad, and my dad would come down the throat of this donkey. Now, you'd think this was the big finale, but it's not quite there yet. What would happen is that my sister would carefully crawl out from underneath the donkey, trying not to slip on the cum and the shit, and she would open her mouth up, and I've been whacking, I'm fist fucking the shit out of the donkey with my right hand, but with my left hand, I've been whacking the shit off of my dick for the whole fucking time, so I'm really close. And I just shoved my dick in my sister's throat. Now the thing with my sister, two things. You know, the first one good, the second one bad. My sister had no gag reflex. She could take my whole cock all the way down her throat. But she had a very weak stomach. And so as soon as I would come in my sister's throat, she would puke up on my shoes. And so kidding around, I would pretend to be angry at this point, and I would just punch her in the fucking head as hard as I can and knock her the fuck out. And the audience loved it. You know, you gotta understand, back in those days, this was the time of slapstick comedy. And people liked certain types of comedy back then. There were things that would always get a laugh. Like if you did a pratfall, you know, if you gave somebody a pie to the face, or if you slapped a naked bitch in the head who just sucked your cock as hard as you can and knocked her the fuck out. People would laugh at that. It was a different time. So I'd knock my sister out. My dad up front, he'd finish on the donkey, come down the donkey's throat, kind of step back triumphantly. Mom, still on all fours, would turn her head to the sky, open her mouth, you know, and the whole time, I should have mentioned earlier, my dad, the white cane was to shove up his ass. The whole time, he's got the white cane up his ass. So he pulls the white cane out. It's still white tipped on one end, but it's brown and red on the other, and it's kind of covered in a little bit of his own shit and blood. But what he does is he takes the white tipped end, and he reaches over the back of the mule, Del Monte, and he lightly tickles the mule behind its left ear. And the donkey regurgitates, pukes all over Mom. And we're talking a combination. It's about 30% cum, 30% donkey saliva, and about 40% Del Monte creamed corn. Now, Mom was a sport. She would swallow as much of this concoction as she could. And what she couldn't swallow, she just rub all over her titties and all over herself, right? So this is pretty big. That's close to the big finish. But my sis is unconscious, right? So I start pissing all over my sis's face because she's got to wake up in time to take her bow. And we're getting close to the end. And let's face it, she deserves to take a bow. She did a really good job. So I piss on my sister's face, wakes her up. I help her to her feet. Dad helps Mom to her feet. Dad steps forward in front of the crowd, raises his cane in the air with his left hand, raises his top hat into the air with his other hand, and says, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Sophisticates." The crowd would go wild. The curtain would close. And we would exit the stage. And I still miss those days. Thank you very much. I'm Alan Perry.
Not bad. I wouldn't mind getting on recording.